He's most relaxed. Oh, I was going to say that's why he was seeing when to go, and all of a sudden he's off the leash, and the only man who can stay with him is Alberto Contador. Nibali's struggling to get back on at the moment. There's others that are fighting to get back at this brace of riders who are up the front. This is what it is all about, and is likely to be in the Tour de France as well. Contador versus Froome, and then everybody else struggling to stay with them.
Absolutely fantastic. Just the acceleration there to Contador, but just look at Nibali claws his way back in the King of the Mountains jersey, and also Van der Broek is there for Lotto Belisol, but an explosion in the front of the peloton.
Well, I think we found Chris Froome's poker tell. When he looks up and looks far, he goes, and he goes again. He's doing it, and he has the eyes of an assassin at the moment, and Contador, though, is staying with him. And at the moment, Froome is doing the work for Contador, let's not forget. It's a question of whether he can shake him. 4.9 to go, and he still keeps out of the saddle, and he still keeps accelerating. This is remarkable.
Yeah, for the two of them, Froome and Contador battling it out here, and Froome giving everything. He wants to try and distance Contador, and it's like they're sprinting for the finishing line.
Unbelievable. There's a long way to go. 4.8 kilometres. Looks round and says, oh my goodness, you're still here? Well, that didn't work. What are we going to do now?
Well, this is absolutely amazing racing, and a good ding-dong between Contador and Froome. Just as it played out to be, the person in difficulty now is Nibali. He may claw his way back now that the two riders in front have eased ever so slightly, but again, this climb has been brutal for these riders here.
Froome fricks his elbow out and says, come on, do some work, and Contador says, no. Nibali tries to get back. Wilco Kelderman, you said you were looking, Brian, for somebody who might be a revelation on this as a young man coming to the fore, and I think Kelderman is going to be that man, certainly by this. Van der Broek is here as well for Lotto Belisol. My goodness, what a day. That was interesting. The way that Froome flicked his elbow out and said, come on, do some work. And Contador said, no, I'm absolutely fine. I've saved a lot of energy because basically I stayed behind you in your draft, and frankly, I'm more than happy. So you just carry on tuckering yourself out front, and I'm going to save my powder, keep that dry, and then I'm going to go for it later on.
I'll tell you what, the battle between Froome and Contador means that Kelderman has decided, well, I'm not going to wait about for you guys to attack each other, because obviously you're looking at each other like a hawk. I'm going to keep my effort on it. Some of the riders don't like the big accelerations, and obviously coming out of the Giro d'Italia with some good form, Kelderman just wants to keep a good tempo up and doesn't want the accelerations.
Good boy. Well, he has gone. He's setting his own tempo, and Froome has no choice but to chase on. And the others are going to let Froome have his head at the moment. And basically, I think he's going to be shaking his by the end, maybe. 4.1. That was an amazing turn of pace. And what was great to see was that Contador was equal to it, stayed with him. That was the shakedown. What now?
Well, Froome had it all planned. That's why he's talking in his radio. He wanted it very, very difficult. Normally, when you go into a climb like this, Team Sky would like to keep 2 or 3 riders on the front and just control the pace. But Froome wanted it hard. He was shouting down his radio to say, keep it really, really hard, because I feel so good, I'm going to go on the attack. But Contador is just following Froome wherever he goes. He's got Nibali, he's clawed his way back. Van der Broek, nice to see him back up there, but nice to see young Kelderman decide, well, I'm not going to wait about to be attacked. I'm going to go at my speed and let you guys battle it out. This is the chasing group behind. I think Talansky is not too far behind with Reichenbach. He's just in front of the Commissarca. TJ Van Garderen is one of the riders that is in difficulty for BMC.
This is fabulous. You're watching it live here on Eurosport with me, Carlton Kirby, and Brian Smith sitting alongside me. And Contador looks fresh as a daisy. Look at this. Nibali has gone. He's gone pop. And they've decided to increase the pace yet again. Froome knows this has happened and now knows that the danger perhaps is Wilco Kelderman up the road with 3.4 to go. Nibali not part of proceedings today then, at least as far as the end. Doesn't even want to look at the camera. Please leave me alone, he says. Kelderman has been bridged over to right now, and it's Chris Froome that's picked it up. However, Alberto Contador surely today has to be the favourite out of this group, unless Froome has got reserves that have not been plumbed before, surely.
Well, it looks as if after the time trial yesterday, this first mountain stage, that Chris Froome wants to crush the rest of the field. He wants to win this stage, and he wants to try and get rid of Contador and win the stage on his own. But it's asked a lot of riders questions, and especially Nibali. Nibali won the Giro d'Italia last year, decided this year I'm going to concentrate totally in the Tour de France, and again he's coming into this Criterium de Dauphiné, 36 days of racing without a win.
Wilco Kelderman decides to go for it yet again. He kicks off and decides to have some fun all on his lonesome. I'm just trying to see where he is. Oh, and look at this response from Van der Broek as well. Are they going to keep it amongst the Low Countries? Well, not if the boys behind can do anything about it. It's Contador leaning on Chris Froome at the moment, almost punishing him for having the temerity to try and shake him off.
Well, it doesn't look as if Froome can get rid of Contador, but the rider from Lotto Belisol, Van der Broek, has come back into form, and looks as if he's wanted to try and win the stage. And Kelderman, great to see him in there after a great Giro d'Italia where he finished 7th overall. But Froome looks as if he wants to win this stage. The team have put a lot of effort into this. He wants to win the stage, but he's really worried about Contador.
I think Contador is going to have the beating of Chris Froome later on. That's my prediction. I hope Chris Froome proves me wrong. 2.7 kilometres to go. 6 seconds is all they have got. It's going to be a very select group. It's going to be some massive gaps today, courtesy of what Sky did on this climb.
Well, this is the third group in the climb. As you see, Talansky now dragging Nibali back up to this group. So we get 6 riders on the front. Chris Froome is just setting a tempo, but Contador, no reaction. He's just sitting there. But it's going to be a battle between Froome and Contador. They're not giving each other an inch.
They're not giving each other an inch at all, and others are deciding to join the party here, Brian.
Well, Talansky wants to keep the pressure on for Garmin Sharp. He was dropped. He didn't like the acceleration. Nobody liked the acceleration, but he's decided he wants to keep the pressure on. He realises there's a lot of riders in this second group. He doesn't want them back on and wants to keep the tempo. But inside the last 2.5 kilometres, from 1.5 kilometres to go to the finish, we average 7 to 8.4%.
I can't wait. It's 8.4% at its maximum in the last 600 metres. So it's a proper kick right at the end, and you've already seen that. Oh, as far as the can goes, the can that's been kicked down the road, I'm afraid, is Nibali. And right now it's Talansky that's putting the hurt on, saying, you want some pain? Well, have some of this. 2.2 to go. Chris Froome bridges over, and in so doing, it seems almost a tow rope between himself and Contador, and that's the danger for Froome.
Yeah, we've seen this happen with Contador in the past, especially in the Vuelta, when they start attacking, and Contador doesn't mind an attack himself. And I'm really surprised here that he never tried to go over the top. I don't think he could have went over the top of Chris Froome and went on the attack. He's decided he wants to keep the wheel of Chris Froome and try and win the stage. If Contador wins the stage and Chris Froome finishes out the top 3, then he'll take that yellow jersey.
Great to see Vincenzo Nibali battling back on here while these guys kind of looked at each other. Chris Froome trying to regain some energy, I'm sure, for another attack later on. We've seen his poker tell. It's when he starts looking up the road. Chris Froome is known to just look straight down. I don't know how he doesn't fall off the bike more often. Maybe just has some amazing bat-like sense of where he is upon the road in terms of sonics.
Well, these are the second group on the road, and this is Elisond at the front for Froome Cedió. Fulsang is in there, Danny Navarro. We see another
Wilco goes. He says, I've had enough. And still, he tries to just disenfranchise the main players who declared as such coming into this Criterium de Dauphiné. Nibali's back on and part of the fun. So is Talansky. 1.6 to go, and it's going to be the last 600 metres, you know, Brian.
Yeah, Froome is not letting anybody go whatsoever. It doesn't care who you are. You're not going up the road. I want to win the stage. Another reaction from Talansky from Garmin Sharp. Again, it's left to Froome to close it all down. Froome wants to win this stage. He won the time trial yesterday. He wants to crush everybody by winning this stage again.
It would be fantastic if he does, especially as the kind of effort he is putting in. He's put on a show for us today, courtesy of his teammates. He's fried them one after the other, and indeed hoped to toast everybody else. Hasn't actually happened, not for the time being, and he's had the strength as well, not only to drag himself back over to anyone who decides to go for a break, but also to light up a few himself. Trouble is, if they start looking at each other, then they're going to open themselves up to an attack from a subsequent group coming from behind, as you can see. Nobody from, no teammate for Nibali just for the time being. And in fact, he hasn't needed them to get back on at this point. But a solo rider just maybe help him out a little bit later on. But I think it's unbridgeable between these guys unless they start looking at each other, Brian.
Yeah, and they have been doing that. Reichenbach is the rider just about 200-300 metres behind, but I think Talansky just wants to keep the pressure on. He realises he's moving up in the general classification. He has got some good form. He did do a good time trial yesterday and wants to keep this group very, very small.
And it is Elisson that decides for Francis to show he's a little man with a big heart when it comes to climbing, and he's spinning it up good and proper, as you can see. Meanwhile, the Flamme Rouge doth beckon. Now, this will be an alarm call going off for these guys. Chris Froome now is at the front, and they are waiting, and indeed just watching to see what he does. Contador has stayed with him, and he's starting to breathe, but you've got to ask yourself questions as to... I've seen Contador really look like he's suffering and then freshen up remarkably.
Well, I don't think any of them are fresh at this moment. This has been a hard climb and a lot of accelerations from Chris Froome and everybody else. You can just see Reichenbach just about to try and make contact, but I think it's a little too late. The winner is going to come from this group here. Chris Froome has shown already he really wants to win this stage. You can just see the road going up. It does kick up to 8.4% the last 500-600 metres.
It does. It's likely to be all-round positions for these guys, although Elisson, I believe, thinks he's got the legs to not only bridge over but go for this. The main hurt zone with 600 metres to go is just being approached now by these guys, and they're weaving all over the road. Nobody wants the responsibility now. Chris Froome on the nose, Contador tracing him, Wilco Kelderman just behind, and he's going again. Now, can anyone stay with him this time? It's a tough old ramp, don't forget. Contador, as we said, with the tow rope, Wilco Kelderman staying also there. Van der Broek has been found out, so has Nibali again, and he eases up, does he? Is he doing the old 1-2? Is he going to have another go? As soon as he does, that's exactly what happens. Sits down, backs into them, and then goes again. This is fabulous.
They're absolutely flat out. Contador is responding, but you can just see he's grimacing. He is hurting as well. All of the riders are hurting. Great to see Kelderman hanging in there, but Contador, can he come by Froome? Can Froome win this stage?
Van der Broek just going by Nibali at the moment. Chris Froome still acting like a giant in this mountain range right now, and he's doing an absolutely superb job, but is it going to be good enough? He's got the bit between his teeth. He's biting that bottom lip. He's absolutely pouring on the pain at the moment. Unfortunately, it's onto himself as well. He's out of the saddle. Contador, has he got the strength not only to catch up with Froome, but go by him? And the gap just seems ever so slightly, centimetre by centimetre, to be extending. And then Contador gets back at him again. 200 metres to go. This is a phenomenal mountain sprint to the line. Has Froome got what it takes? And Contador goes to the barriers. And is he going to take the day? Froome stay in the lead. It's mano a mano at the moment. It's going to be like this on the Tour de France. And Froome digs deep again. Oh, he's mining for gold at the moment. And I think he might just strike it. He's wearing that golden jersey by rights. And I think today is going to belong to him. What a performance that was. That was class. Well, there's Chris Froome, and at the moment, there's everybody else.
That was incredible there, but Chris Froome just punched his chest there and said, I'm number one. I can beat you in the time trial, and I can beat everybody in the mountains as well. And what a magnificent performance he put in. And let's not forget, you need a team to be able to do that. Team Sky, great performance today. Coming up here is Anton. Eager Anton for Movistar. Just behind him, the young Brit, Adam Yates. Reichenbach coming up. Navarro for Cofidis. Zubeldia for Trek Factory Racing.